Have you ever wondered how a civilization chooses to express beauty? The Renaissance painted the human body, but the Ottoman world perfected the written word. Europe searched for beauty through perspective, through anatomy, through the visible world. The Islamic world walked another path. It searched for harmony inside letters. Perhaps this is one of the most fascinating artistic decisions ever made by a civilization. For centuries, artists across Europe asked themselves, how can I paint the world? The Ottoman calligrapher asks something different. How can I honor the word? That single difference created two magnificent artistic traditions. Neither was trying to replace the other, they simply began from different questions. If Leonardo da Vinci transformed painting, Şeyh Hamdullah transformed calligraphy. His influence on Ottoman art became so profound that generations of calligraphers would measure themselves against his hand. They studied his proportions, copied his compositions, refined their discipline through his example. Just as the Renaissance painters looked toward Leonardo, the Ottoman calligraphers looked toward Şeyh Hamdullah. But unlike many great artists, he was never searching for fame. He was searching for perfection through humility. And perhaps that is why what makes calligraphy so extraordinary, because unlike painting, it does not begin with imagination, it begins with discipline. Every line must breathe, every curve must carry balance, every empty space must remain meaningful. Nothing is accidental. Nothing exists merely for decoration. Even silence is part of the composition. There is something rather unusual about Islamic art. Walk into the Louvre and you will find paintings. Walk into Vatican museums and you will find sculptures. Walk into an Ottoman mosque and you might discover that the greatest masterpiece is neither, it is a sentence. A few words written beautifully and somehow those words become enough. This raises a fascinating question. Why? Why would an entire civilization choose writing as one of its highest artistic expressions? Perhaps the answer begins with the Qur'an itself. For Muslims, the Qur'an is not only a sacred text, it is the revealed word, not simply a message, but revelation itself. If divine speaks through words, then writing those words becomes more than communication, it becomes responsibility. This is why calligraphy was never made merely decoration. The calligrapher was not trying to invent beauty, he was trying to become worthy of writing beauty. Perhaps that is why calligraphy demands so much patience. Every letter asks something of the person holding the pen. Discipline, humility, stillness, presence. Before the ink becomes beautiful, the hand must become steady. And before the hand becomes steady, the heart must become quiet. Before we leave, I would like to return to the words written by Şeyh Hamdullah. Success comes from only Allah, and He is the best companion and the best helper. And beneath those words, a saying of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam: if you truly relied upon God as He deserves to be relied upon, He will provide for you just as He provides for the birds. They leave their nests hungry in the morning and return satisfied in the evening. For centuries, Ottoman calligraphers copied these words again and again and again, not because they had forgotten them, but because they hoped one day to live them. Perhaps this is what we often misunderstand. We imagine that art exists to decorate our walls, but the greatest works of art always try to shape the people standing before them. A great painting changes the way we see. A great poem changes the way we speak. A great piece of music changed the way we listen, and perhaps great calligraphy changed the way we live. The reed pen moves slowly, not because it is weak, but because the truth cannot be rushed. Every letter demands attention. Every space demands patience. Nothing beautiful is created in haste. Perhaps our lives are not so different. We spend years building careers, homes, businesses, dreams, yet sometimes we forget to build ourselves. Şeyh Hamdullah understood something that every generation eventually discovers: the hand can never become more beautiful than the heart that guides it. Perhaps that is why his work still speaks to us 500 years later, not because the ink survived, but because the intention did. Civilizations are remembered for many reasons, some for their victories, others for their inventions, some for the monuments they built, but the Ottoman world left behind magnificent architecture, extraordinary cities, remarkable scholarship, but perhaps its quietest achievement was this: it believed that beauty could refine the human soul. Not through noise, not through spectacle, but through discipline, through patience, through remembrance. Maybe that is why calligraphy still matters today, not because everyone can read the words, but because everyone understands that search for meaning. Before recording this episode, I kept asking myself, why should someone living in the 21st century care about 15th century calligrapher? And then I realized perhaps this was the wrong question. The better question is, what kind of person does this art invite us to become? More patient, more attentive, more humble, more present, perhaps more grateful. And maybe that has always been the purpose of great art, not simply to impress us, but to transform us. If there is one lesson I hope you carry with you after leaving this gallery, it is this: beauty is not something we own, it is something we practice. A beautiful sentence, a beautiful gesture, a beautiful intention, a beautiful life. Perhaps they all begin in exactly the same place.